Okay, we are recording.
All right, so we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. It's 4:13 on December 17th. And we do have a quorum present, so we can start the meeting, even though we think we may have at least one more person joining us.
Okay.
Right.
Here she comes right now.
Okay.
Karen.
Hello, Karen.
Hi.
Hi. Thanks for joining us. So we just got started, so you didn't miss anything.
Okay.
So I sent out the minutes to everyone on Sunday in the email. Has everyone had a chance to review those?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions or concerns with the minutes from the group?
I'd make a motion for approval.
Second.
All right. So we got a motion, we got approval. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Forgot the word for a second. Okay, so we got the minutes covered. Let's go ahead and move on then. What we'll do is we'll cover the club financials and then jump into the conversation around the Wine Fest. Since we have Joanne, then that allows her to drop off whenever she's ready. Okay. So
Yeah.
Graziella, if I can have you cover the club.
Chris Wyatt is joining. Do you want me to share the financials, Graziella,
Yes,
on the
please.
screen?
Oh,
That'd be good. Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay, give me one. Which one do you want to do first?
The club, please.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, so this is the financial statements for November, ending November 30th, 2020. The cash in the bank we had was $20,607.05. In accounts receivable, we have $2,901. There's no change to it. Prepaid expenses, we have 1,200, of which 1,000 is for cuvee marketing, and I found $200 were prepaid for the women's club rent.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we have deferred revenue of, I'm sorry, we're going down further. Go to the liabilities. We have deferred revenue of $6,590, which is the Wine Fest, no changes, which brings us to a year-to-date loss of $613.28.
Okay.
Now,
All
next
Okay.
page, please. On the profit and loss statement, we have no, so let's see. We have a $5,665 for cuvee marketing write-off. As we discussed, Joanne and I, we will not be able to carry that over to the Wine Fest, so we need to recognize that loss.
Okay.
Which for that reason, there was no other expenses that are significant this month.
Right.
So if
Okay.
you could go please further down, so I can show you, can you go, yeah, so, sorry, that was right, you were right. One more page, there we go. We have a net income, a net loss of $5,955.29 for November, and a year-to-date loss of $613.28.
Okay. All right.
There's something I needed to talk to you about, which I missed further up in accounts payable. We have a $250. We had the taxes last year were done by Rowan. And I contacted them and they said that we never paid them for the service. So we owe them the $250. We for the club, and we will also owe them $250 for the foundation. I need an approval that I can go ahead and pay that.
Okay, I'll move that we pay it. And one step further on that, both Graziella and I looked back at prior years' financials to look and see if we did pay it, and we don't see it anywhere.
Mm-mm.
I second the motion.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Oh, okay, all right, great, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
So then,
Brian, are you gonna fill out the request for payment? So
sure,
she can legally
I
pay
can
it?
fit. Okay, I'll fill it out and send it to you, Brian.
okay, all right, thank you.
And then the next page, please.
On page 4.
Yes, please.
Okay. This is 4.
4. Okay, one more, please. Number 5.
Okay.
Okay. Comparison to last year. Of course, we didn't have any revenue this year that we can from any events. So that's why it looks, the difference is 2,400 in the red. And then but we also didn't have the club expenses for those events. So bottom line, we only like $472 off, which is not too bad.
Okay,
The only hit that we're gonna hit is the marketing service write-off for $6,000, almost $6,000.
all right,
And then on the next page. This is the transaction report for all the transaction that occurred this month, showing the class that it is assigned to / budget, basically. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Graziella, that first one that's 280, it says 28 participants at $1 membership. It
Mhm.
looks like it's 28 times 10.
Oh, no.
oh,
Yes,
you know
yes.
what?
Oh, no,
I'll
it's
bet-
hidden. It's
Yeah,
hidden.
I'll bet if
It's
you
hidden
expand
because
that.
the column is too wide.
Yeah.
Okay.
But good catch, it doesn't look right. Yeah, I'll make the column a little wider.
Oh, it's no big deal. I just was
Yeah.
curious,
No,
I didn't know it was a
good
typo
catch.
or,
No, I can't get the columns all the way up together, they're too long.
understand.
Okay.
And what was that for? It was,
Uh,
oh, that was a
It's-
social event.
Yeah, it was it's a reversal from the accrual that we had. So we had the event in October, and so I accrued it and then reversed it, and the cash was not deposited until November.
Okay,
Yeah, then
So
I have,
below you see 250 and 30. So that's the actual deposit that I made in November.
okay.
oh,
Yeah, I got this. You sent me the check that's shown on there. It says World Polio Foundation, but there is no
Yes.
World Polio Foundation. It has to
Uh-oh.
be the Rotary Foundation. So do you want me to just send that back to you and you send
Yeah,
me
why
another one?
don't you please? And then I'll make it out to the foundation. Is that right?
Yeah, the Rotary Foundation.
Rotary.
Okay.
yeah.
Rotary International Foundation.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
No,
then,
it's,
and the,
no,
and
no,
the,
no, 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 no. It's just the
No?
Rotary Foundation.
okay.
Yeah,
Now,
TRF.
I think you're supposed to put in the memo line polio, right? Polio plus.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, we would do that. And I put it to Polio Plus on the sheet that I send in. Yeah, it does go to Polio Plus, but there's no, I was afraid I'd send it in and it would get rejected because and I thought, well, maybe I'll just write Rotary Foundation and initial it, but then it's one of those security checks.
So it's strange because in the system it was set up that way. I just took the one from last time, but I guess I don't know. Maybe it was adjusted last time too.
Yeah, I mean, I could try to send it in, but think we'd be better to just
No,
issue another check.
no, then we just waste
I
the
wouldn't do
time.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just, yeah, no, I'll fix it.
Okay.
Right.
And then on the next page, please.
Okay.
Oh, we had a little bit of a refund, $15 on the tax year 2018.
State sends money. That's a miracle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Help,
Yeah.
help pay for the fee that you didn't pay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right.
Oh, and Clark, I left a message with, oh, I don't have the name right now, but with the bank for the $23. So they're charging us on this account and also on the properties account. And I left a message with the lady.
Yeah,
But
Jennifer.
I haven't gotten back anything.
Okay.
So I just get her voicemail. I'll keep getting her voicemail.
Call Brandon.
I
Yeah.
don't think he's there anymore, is he?
No,
I
Brandon.
already,
Yeah, Brandon's there. I talked with him today.
Oh, I thought he was
about-
leaving.
Well,
I
he may
already
be.
did. I actually went there in person and talked to him, and then he said it was because we had too many people on the website, which is not right, which is not true. So we only have 3, and we reduced it, and we are allowed to have. So it's really, it has to be taken care of by a manager.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, and then going further, one page down, please. One more page, please.
One more page. Okay.
Yes, please. That's our cash disbursements and deposits for the month of November.
Okay.
So if
Okay.
you have any questions, just let me know. It just shows the transaction because those are in cash. And then here is the accounts receivable. There hasn't been any change. Nobody paid.
Yeah.
Probably ought to write off Tony's.
Yeah, this is almost $3,000. It's
Yeah.
getting a little out of sight here.
Yeah, no kidding.
All right.
But wouldn't we write Tony off? Is that right?
Well, I think for Tony, we probably should just write that one off, right?
That's written off as of December,
Okay.
Okay,
Yep.
good, good.
Okay.
but that's the only one.
Yeah.
Right.
So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to send out an email to each of them, letting them know that what their outstanding balance is. And for the most part, most of it is, looks like, there's a decent amount just in the plus 90 days alone.
Graciela.
Me? Oh, the $30 that, oops, yeah, I
Yeah.
need to pay that.
So I'll send an email out asking for these folks to clear up by the end of the year their outstanding dues, or to let me know if they've got a reason that they can't, and then we'll address that, as a one-off. But let's start there first.
Don't send me an email, but I'm not sure why I'm in those 30 zones. I usually Linda pays it, then I thought I paid it, and then I saw it was delinquent and I thought I paid it. So I'm going to go back and have Linda check our credit card.
Yeah,
That
so,
come off.
yeah, and what I'll do, to that point, I'll be a little bit more lenient with the people that just show the $30 in the 30.
Yeah, because.
I mean, the Stewarts and
exactly.
those guys, they're gonna pay.
Yeah,
Yeah, but.
and
but-
a few, yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, but we do need to get it cleaned up for a number of reasons, right? One
Okay.
is it's $3,000 or close to it outstanding.
Right,
And we've got our second half of our international dues are coming up too.
yeah.
Okay, all right.
Brian? Brian?
Yeah,
When you say prior to year end, are you talking about December or June?
No, December. Yeah, before the end of 2020. Because they're outstanding
Okay.
balances, yeah.
Okay, yeah, well, yeah. All
Is
right.
that,
If people don't want to pay him right away, then maybe they ought to take a leave of absence so it doesn't keep going up.
right.
I mean, I'm not crazy about that, but on the other hand, we don't want them to get to like $500, $600, $800, which we've had in the past, and then people get really pissy, I guess is the
Well,
word I would use.
Isn't Karen on a leave of absence? Is that what?
Yeah.
So, yes, however, it's not formalized yet because one of the stipulations is you have to be current. And so, and she's aware
Okay,
of this. So in a scenario like that, once she pays it, then yes, she can formally go on a leave of absence.
Okay, but there's no way to stop the accrual unless you pay it, is really what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that in our bylaws or is that international? Because it seems like a double whammo.
Does.
What do you mean? I'm not sure I
Well,
understood that.
I
so.
think what we're saying is when Karen requested a leave of absence, should her dues have stopped there and then she owes what she owes? And to come back in, I think it would be better to not keep accruing just because they haven't paid,
I agree with that.
you know, and
Okay.
then when they want to come back, when they want to rejoin us, then they got to pay it in full to come back.
Yes, so I misspoke. You're absolutely right, Clark. What I told Karen was that she has to come due up until the time that she requested the leave of absence. So effective the 1st of October is her leave of absence would be effective.
Right.
So that the additional $30 in there shouldn't be accruing. And so, sorry if I misspoke, but anyone that's in that scenario, which is really just her and Father Bill, because Father Bill's supposedly transferring to another club. So
Right.
those two, we would back out for October and beyond.
You have to
Well,
write it off then.
Has Father Bill requested leave until he transfers? So he can stop accruing, because otherwise you would keep rolling it. Not that I want you to, but I'm wondering.
Plus, he can't transfer with a balance due.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
And he
yeah,
knows, and he knows that.
Yeah, he's aware of that. So in his case, do we keep accruing until he pays? I mean, I don't think we've had a formal.
I think technically I have to, unless we have something in writing, right?
Yeah, I mean, he'd have to
Oh.
take a leave of absence in order to stop accruing. And then,
But you're just gonna have to write it off.
but to transfer,
I would get him to hurry up and write a
yeah,
leave of
these guys just
absence.
need to pay their
And then when he
bills.
gets the transfer stuff, he just has to pay what he owes.
Yeah, like it shocks me Barbara Di Baptiste is there, and it's probably her annual dues. You know, because 168 are your annual dues for international district and the club, and that looks like what the big ones are there.
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah.
it's kind of weird. Stan Nader. I mean, that's just.
Well, Stan Nader is thinking about not staying with the club.
Well, that's okay, but he still was here on July 1st, so he owes that.
Yeah, see, these people, you will see, they're gonna say, I'm not gonna pay it. But so is there so I suggest that we should have they should sign a form or something if they leave. So we have at least once, first of all, you know, a date, and if they sign that they're responsible, it shows that they're responsible for the payment. I mean, if we just tell them, okay, fine, you can leave, you know, I feel they don't feel like they're responsible for anything. But if we make them sign something, then they know they're responsible.
Well, I think if you send the invoice and Brian calls them or sends them another email, I know you've sent them, Graziella. I'm sure of that, but
Yeah.
I guess what I'm saying is, if they ever want to come back to the club, if they're on leave, or if they want to transfer, they can't do it till they pay their bill in full. Outside of that, you know, I mean, I don't we're not going to go send anybody to a bill collector, I doubt,
Okay.
unless you want me to do it all.
No. I just thought, it makes a person more responsible when they sign something.
Promissory note.
I don't know whether we have a policy, but I'd make the motion that once a person puts in for a leave of absence, that no further dues accrue, but they're still responsible for the payment that was before
Right,
their
and-
leave of
and-
absence, and then
Okay.
Brian can handle it from there. It sounds like that's where he wants to put it.
Yeah, and technically Karen's the only one that has asked for a leave of absence at this point. So, so
Right.
we can write that one off.
Okay.
Oh,
And it should be in
Um,
writing.
Yeah, I need something to write it off. I can't just write it off. So
okay,
I
I've
would,
got I've got a
an
motion.
email or something.
You're talking about to write off Tony's?
Yeah, so-
Well, Tony, we know he passed
Well, but
away, so
anyway, Okay, I'll make a motion to.
Well, let's finish
Well,
the other
let's
motion
amend,
first.
why don't we just amend Daryl's motion and say, in addition to what he's moved, that we'll write off $30 for October for Karen Russell, since she had given us the leave of absence. And
Okay,
we'll
perfect.
also write off Tony Belisaro's
Perfect.
amount.
Okay,
I'd like to amend the motion.
So amended. It's amended. Sounds
I
good.
second it.
Yeah, good.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
And unless there's something further, I'd move adoption of the financials.
I,
Okay, so,
I'll second that.
all right. And then all in favor of accepting the financials?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Nope. Okay, then they're approved. So let's shift gears here for a minute. And last month when we talked about the financials, I think most of us were surprised that we had to then accrue the prepayment for Cuvée of $56.65. So,
Well,
Go ahead.
it wasn't really a prepayment.
It was a contract with several payments
Right.
for the
Those
service
service-
to be performed.
And it's not, I'm just saying it's not really a prepayment.
Was that for services already rendered, Joanne?
Absolutely. Yes,
Yes,
Oh,
I think it
okay.
was. Yeah. I think that's where the misunderstanding
it
might
could be, yeah, you know.
okay.
Well,
Let me
so tech-
let me just put it in context a little bit, if I could, just to
Yeah.
put it in context. We've been doing the Wine Fest for almost 10 years. We didn't quite make our 10-year. And I got heavy push to find a successor for it. And could not find anybody to take on even like a small part of it to lead up to that. So that's when we went to the consulting arrangement with the idea that we'd work with Cuvée or whoever we decided to be a consultant and very slowly build them into the place where they could take it over almost 100%. And this year we were at the point where we were very close, maybe like 85% or something was going to be handled by them. And this effort starts in November and goes through April. So the way that we structured the payments was that it would be a 6-month payment. And we canceled the Wine Fest as of about March 31st. So we made those 5 months of payments, which were, and they'd done all the work, basically. The day of the event is really minor in for what the input, that the amount of work that she needs to do, or the Cuvée needs to do, I should say, because it's more than her. And so the bulk of the work was already done by the time we had to cancel. And that's, it's just one of the COVID casualties, if you like. We had gotten to the point where in the contract that said that Cuvée would be the one point of contact for restaurants, retail venues, ABC license, consumers, ticket holders, social media, wineries, breweries, restaurants, you name it. So it's a tremendous amount of work, as I can tell you, that goes into that, getting contracts from all of them, getting arrangements with all of them, getting agreements with all of them. All that was already done. And there's just no way to redo, to use that work and apply it to the next year, or now maybe 2 years. Yes, there was a question, Daryl.
No, I'm just going to say it was for services provided that we have no way of reversing. So I
Exactly.
don't think
Now,
there's
I
question.
want to point out too that we did, we have deferred revenue that really should be matched up against that in a way. So our deferred revenue of 6590 is still something we've accrued, right? And we will,
Yeah. The only thing there is, I mean, it's possible we could have to give all the accrued revenue back, right?
no, not the 6590, because the unrefunded amount is $452. So the only amounts that we haven't refunded is $452.
Oh.
Where's the other 5,000 something coming from then, Joanne, if it's not tickets that they bought for the wine fest?
Well, it is tickets, but they're going to use, if you were to hold them this year, they'd use them this year, right? Now, that would, correct.
yeah,
Correct.
so that would be,
So, well, I guess the assumption is if you haven't asked for a refund by now, you're not going to.
probably not.
But so we just tell the people then you lose it?
No, we would honor them, but it
Well, then
doesn't
we need to
cost.
keep it in deferred revenue. As long as we honor them and not provide the service, we have to keep it in deferred revenue.
Yeah, I'm not suggesting change that. What I am saying is that we do have revenue associated with that, and it's, highly.
Probability is we're going to keep that revenue is what you're saying.
Exactly. Now we'll
But
contact
in
us.
deferred revenue because we didn't provide
Yeah.
the service.
Correct.
So assuming we cancel this spring, which looks highly likely, then would we offer to those people who have the tickets for them to defer it another year?
Well, I think so. Yeah, I think that's the only fair thing to do. And
So
it doesn't cost us anything to do that, really.
No, well, the only thing it costs us is that when we have it next year,
$5,000.
we'll have to incur advertising and stuff for Cuvée. And then we will have to hold 400, how many ever tickets we've sold, 200 tickets. That money will go into next year. So it wouldn't really we would lose some of the income from that. Right. Against the new expenses. Right. I think this is the only fair way to do it, is the way we've been progressing in doing it, is to offer it for people. And I agree with Joanne that almost no one's going to ask for their money back. And by the following year, we can offer it to them, but many of them are not going to take us up on it because they've moved on with other things in their life. So we just keep following the process and see where the pandemic takes us and what's going to go.
Interestingly enough, we still get a lot of hits on the Facebook page for Wine Fest. I mean, yesterday there were 10 likes or something. It's like there's still a tremendous amount of interest in the event. So and Cuvée did agree that she would apply $1,000 credit towards next time when we do. So she'll use up $1,000 before she bills us again. Because I went to her and I said, "Come on, you got to give me something."
You were happy with her work?
Oh, go ahead, John.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand.
Were you happy with her work?
Oh, absolutely. She's there. She's great to work with. This is our third.
She's good.
Fourth,
She's good.
She's really good. She's what I really like. She's not a territorial. She doesn't say, "Oh, that's not in the contract. I can't do that." Whatever I ask her to do, she says, "Absolutely, I'm on it." There's no scope. Oh, I didn't put that in, and so she's just really good to work with. Very innovative.
Hey, Vern.
We came up with the whole mini wine fest idea, and we did that.
I think she's quite gracious to extend $1,000 towards next year. And I concur with Karen. And so I think we just put a nail in this and we're done.
Okay, so if I understand correctly, and trust me, from my perspective, I'm not saying that we shouldn't pay her. That was never my concern. And the reason I asked Joanne here was we didn't have a real good understanding last month when we discussed it. So this helps. Obviously, Joanne's been intimately involved in this. So either way, look at it. So to me, what I see then is that we basically had a $4,600 loss for Winefest for 2020. And then, we move forward in 2021. So the question with Cuvées,
Picture's been black here. I don't know how to change that.
the question then, so with Cuvée, you mentioned earlier that they really start the process and you guys start working on this in November.
Mhm.
So any idea, how much this year's contract with them will be?
Well, I don't think there'll be a wine fest this year,
Okay, all right.
but I would imagine it'll be the same,
Okay, all right. So at this point, there's
I
no
mean,
commitment.
we should have started already
Yeah,
if we were
yeah.
gonna do it.
So
This
chances
is
are
what-
the next wine fest will be in 2022.
Yeah, I mean, I guess there's a very slim chance we could do it in the fall, but the wineries really don't want us to do it in the fall.
Okay.
Because
all right.
that's, the picking season and everything. So it doesn't work well for them. It might work well for us, but if without the wineries, we're dead in the water.
Okay, all right.
So I think the most likely is we're going to be 2021. I mean,
I
22.
think we just
excuse me.
need to plan that, because it's highly unlikely we're going to have the wine fest, and it's highly unlikely that we're going to have the Tour de Lincoln in May. We have booked for October 30th McBean Park to maybe hold the Tour de Lincoln in the end of October. They were booked all
You
the way
said
through-
April, I think, but you meant October,
I meant October 30th, right before the Halloween.
right?
And we don't even know if we'll be able to do it then, but we're pretty sure it's going to be canceled also. So I think we just need to plan that both of those items in the spring are going to be canceled. The only thing that we're going to make any kind of money for, period, is the virtual charity auction. And I'll say right up front to everyone, I think we're pretty much in a crisis within our club, that no one wants to step forward and do much on fundraising. And that's been that way for the last 3 or 4 or 5 years. It's only been about 5 people who stepped forward and taken the bull by the horn, so to speak, and made money for us. We've been able to pull everybody in and do it, but we couldn't get anybody to chair the charity auction this year. And same kind of thing with the wine fest that Joanne had problems with. And so there's a team of about 4 to 6 people who are kind of taking that on. And
we all have
I don't
to
know,
thank Karen for ramrodding it.
well, I don't know what's going to happen next year, because I will not do it. And I won't be talked into it. So I think that
That's pretty clear.
this team needs to, we need to start having some frank talk with our club, that you just can't come to the meetings and, even when we're having them virtually or non-virtually, and not put forth some volunteer hours. Now I know that there's a ton of people working on all of the stuff with the legacy that we got last spring, and many of you are sitting right here. So I'm not talking about those people, but we've got to address this issue of, if we want to have money, then we all have to pitch in, or we say we're not going to worry too much about making money. We're going to all do hands and feet on the ground and that kind of volunteering.
So
I'll have my say now.
So I want to come back to that part in a little bit. But I want to wrap up the Cuvée thing. I don't think we need a motion. I mean, this had been approved funds, it's just for us to understand why we had to release those now versus when we truly held the event. So it sounds like everyone understands. Is everyone okay? Any additional questions for Joanne relative to 2020's expenses with Cuvée or the Wine Fest in general? No?
Brian?
Okay, yes.
Yes. I have a question and I think I heard it right, but mine is really staticky and I'm not sure why today. But so we were contracted, so we're not going to have, we're making up our mind today. We're not going to have one in 21. So have we paid toward 21 or shall we cancel the contract and start over again in 22? Or how are we going to handle that?
Well, yeah. Joanne, your thoughts on that?
Yeah, the contract doesn't need to be canceled because the event was canceled and they're in, then the contract is canceled because it was for that particular event. Going forward, we would have to sign a new contract with her. So I can, I'm happy to notify her and tell her, we're thinking that's not going to happen. Just a side thing, I was on the county economic development Zoom yesterday, and the health officer said to expect to be in the purple tier through February.
Oh,
Yeah. Yep. I heard that too.
So, and that's not, it could go on beyond that. And as I think all of you know, the Wine Fest is just not something that we could do in social distance. It's just not going to work. It's, there are things that you can do for social distancing, but not this one. So I think we should to just, accept that we're not going to do it until the following year.
Yeah, we can't.
Well, so should we just formalize that right now, Joanne?
I think that's probably a good idea. I think better than hoping against hope, and
okay,
might as well say it. Daryl, did you have?
Well, I was just going to say it's obvious we can't enter into a new contract till we have a firm 100% belief that this is going to be held. So it's just on hold, and I'll put that in the form of a motion if anybody wants it that way. There's
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I missed that.
We have to, I don't think we have to have a motion to not do something.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think we need a motion.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
Here's the bottom line. The monies that were paid to Cuvée were for services previously rendered. There's no further obligation to pay them any other funds. Joanne's made that clear. And until we know we can actually have another event, at that time, we would then enter into a new contract with them to go forward.
with $1,000 credit.
Yes, with $1,000 credit. So I think
I
think we're done with this.
And she'd be delighted to know that we're going to do it, but she'll also be, it'll free her up to know that we're not going to do it this time.
So Joanne, is your recommendation that we cancel it as of today?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so I propose that we cancel the Wine Fest for 2021 and hold it in the spring of 2022.
Okay, well, I think I probably feel more comfortable just saying that it's canceled for the date in April. I mean,
okay,
let's leave it slightly open just in case maybe we can pull off doing something later in the year.
Okay, that sounds fine to me. I still am in my
There was no second, so you don't have to amend it.
What is the date, Joanne?
Pardon me?
What is the date?
It was going to be April 26th,
So just put
2021. It was going to be.
Okay, and we don't need a motion for this, right? Because we're delaying the fundraiser. So, okay. All right. Any other questions around this topic? And if not, we can let Joanne either stay or go.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Joanne.
It's my pleasure. Thank you. Thank you guys for your support.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Joanne, for all you do.
yeah.
All right. So just quickly, Graziella, can you just touch on the foundation?
Yep. So for the foundation, as of November, we have a total of $14,091.92 in cash. we're still waiting for the Ryland Senior Citizen payments for $4,190. Other than that, there hasn't been any significant changes, except I wrote off K. Hovnanian, as we did speak about last meeting.
Okay.
So the good thing on the foundation is that we did about $8,000 in unrealized gain, and so that kind of looks good on the investment side. I'm sorry, I'm already down at the income statement of income and expense. Sorry
So
about that.
quick, you jumped fast for me. So what's the latest with the move to Vanguard? Any?
I'll speak to that when I give my report.
Okay, all right. Okay, thanks, Kazel.
Yeah, of course. And then you see again the 250, for the accountant for that we owe. We paid $1,000 to the Friends of the Library. We had $500 on a baseball banner, and the net income for November with all these transactions is $2,931.04. Now, as for the year, we have a loss of $6,402.39. And that's due to no revenue for the Tour de Lincoln and the $2,000 write-off for K. Hovnanian.
All right.
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
So there's no other really significant. The bad debt, the 2,000 is that, and then really no other. This is just a month-to-month comparison.
Yeah.
I think you pretty well went over that.
Yeah. And this is just by department, basically, by budget.
Okay.
The transactions for November only.
All right.
Here are all the transactions that were entered in the month of November.
All right. And anyone have any questions specific to the foundation financials?
No, I move we accept or whatever
Yeah.
our review.
Yeah,
is.
we don't do that anymore. Since they're approved at by the board level at the foundation and also with properties, we just do it for review here now. Okay.
Clark, if you can go down one or two more pages, please. It shows the cash transactions for cash transactions for the month of November.
Sorry, my wife was in here bombing in on me.
There we go.
She needed the return address stamp for our Christmas cards or our New Year's cards. We're not doing Christmas cards. We're doing New Year's
Oh,
cards.
sorry. One more page.
Yeah.
Sorry. There we go. So these are the cash transactions.
Okay.
And
All right.
then, thank you.
Okay. All right, should we move on to the properties?
So I guess do we need a motion to approve the foundation?
No.
Oh, the
no,
trustees do that. Never mind.
yeah,
I
yeah.
remember.
Okay.
A little slow.
Hey, that's what vacation does to you.
Yeah.
Your short-term memory, you got it.
Yeah. Okay, I don't think I shared it. I gotta share the screen again here.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay,
Right. And the properties account.
Oh, I didn't share it. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
I had it up on my screen. I'm surprised you guys couldn't see it.
Okay.
I forgot to
And
hit
we
the
were all
last
waiting
button.
I
patiently.
didn't know if I should
I'm
say
like, what are they all
something.
waiting for?
Okay, so in our properties, LRC properties, as of November, cash in the bank is $23,541.10. In November, we had two accounts receivable for two tenants. They're both paid at this point. They were just, one lady was in the hospital and the other one was late. We have a prepaid expense of $6,477, which consists of the lawyer's retainer of $2,000. End of November, we had $2,109.96 in taxes prepaid, and we had a balance in the insurance that we prepaid. On the fixed asset, we did buy a heat pump, and so that's in our fixed assets at this point for $706. Our net income for the year is $5,925.45.
Good.
Yeah. Good that we have the properties. And budget wise, we're pretty much right on. So there's nothing that I think I need to comment on.
Okay,
Unless you have any questions.
no. None for me.
So we go. So what did it gives you then the net basically is that in November, the month of November, we had $1,391.08 of income. And fiscal year to date is $5,925.45. Then here's the monthly account, P&L, profit and loss by month. Kind of
think-
shows.
For everybody, what was the total summation that we paid in property taxes? across the-
It was about 13,000. So it
Yeah.
was, about 13.
It's on the, on the cash, the last schedule.
Right.
You'll see it.
Oh, keep going.
Yep, you can keep going.
Keep going.
Okay,
keep
so this
going.
is by property, the monthly expense and revenue. For the land, we only have property taxes that we're paying. So that's all good. We can go to the next page. These are the transactions for the November that occurred. So we can go down further. That's the monthly amortization for the taxes.
Keep going.
Yeah, you can keep going until we hit the cash. Right here's
There it
the
is.
cash.
Okay.
So you see the two checks there, it's about 13,400 and something. So one was the regular taxes were 5,000. Oh no, wait, the regular taxes were $8,362, and then the 5,100 were the assessed, the new assessed property
Supplemental.
taxes.
I just wanted to point it out as a big bullet that we've had.
Yeah, so then in April, we have the similar numbers that go
Yes,
out for.
exactly the same amount. Yes.
All right, but then once we pay that, then going forward, we just have the 8,300 twice a year, right?
No, No, we'd have 13. We still have 13,000. So, but Jerry has put in an appeal for that.
Okay,
For
all
what-
right. Yeah, so I misunderstood. I thought one was just a supplemental, but
No,
okay. got it.
that's the supplemental. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Sorry about that. It's 5,106 is the supplemental.
But next year, it just adds, it's
Those
not
two
something,
together,
you're gonna add
yeah.
those two together unless you
Yeah.
can appeal that.
Yeah.
So
That's right.
Yeah, okay, all right.
who's this guy absconding with money? This Scott
Yeah,
Davies?
yeah.
That's the heat pump.
That's the
Oh.
Mexico trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Okay.
got a call today from Linda wanting to know where Daryl's been.
Yeah,
He's here with me, so it must have been a long distance. But we corrected that in the last property meeting, that there will always be a memo put on any line item. But otherwise, it was going to Cabo. I was going to come down there and meet you, Clark.
okay,
Have good lobster, langusto.
yeah.
All right, so I think, any questions for Graziella on the properties financials? No? All right, thank you very much, Graziella, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Why don't we move into some committee reports? Clark, you have anything for membership?
Well, we do have 2 membership applications that have been sent in, although I haven't seen them yet. I did call Art today, but he, I guess he'd been in Chico the last couple of days, and Diane said he was taking a nap. So I said, well, don't wake him up for this. So,
Yeah.
but Mary Ann Barker is, I believe, submitted her application, as has
She
Bill
has.
Lauritsen. And, but they haven't hit me yet. So I don't know if they sent them into the PO box or where they're at.
Okay.
Claire, do you know Ma
Well,
Barker?
she sent me, she sent the thing went to you and then she CC'd me. So I don't know where yours went. 'Cause I
Well,
got-
they also have
I
to
got
send
it.
their check before, I have to get their check too. So
Oh,
I assume she sent that to the PO box, but
okay, yeah, I don't know. I'll ask her.
well, I asked Art to check. If he doesn't have it, then I'll just get a hold of her and I'll
Okay.
get that squared away. Don't
Yeah,
worry
there's-
about it.
Okay.
Yeah, good point. Maybe Art just hadn't gotten to the post office yet. It may be sitting there.
Yeah. Well, he
Okay.
may well have it. So that's really it on that. I did also, I completed and updated the membership handbook for that Art and I had worked on a couple months ago. And I've got it all finished now. So if we have, and I sent it out to those 2 new members, so they have it. So that is completed. And yeah, that's it from a membership perspective right now.
And
Okay,
then Clark, will you let me know when I need to build them? Because I need to build them, right? Prorated? Yeah.
Yeah, we will start billing them in January. They're not
In
gonna be building
January?
yeah, they won't be building anything for December, so don't need
Okay.
to worry about December. Yep.
okay. Then while we're on membership, if I can bring up that our Rotary International dues will be due in January. We'll get that, the invoice for that. So obviously we got to make sure that by the 31st of this year, our membership files are cleaned up. So obviously to take Tony off if he hasn't already been.
Mhm.
Now, Clark, do you know if someone's on leave of absence, do we still get charged from Rotary International for that?
Well, those people paid their dues for the whole year already.
Well, right.
We have
but
to
in
pay
terms of
Rotary
what we get-
International.
What we get charged for on this second invoice, though.
I don't know the answer to that, to be quite
Okay,
honest.
all right. So at the very least, we probably have to take Tony off. So that,
I'll go ahead and take him off the rolls
okay,
because I have
All right.
access to it, so we don't have to go to Art.
okay, all right, perfect. Then that's it with that. All right, so back to some fundraising stuff. So, oh, there you are. You moved on my screen, so I couldn't find you there, Karen.
Oh,
Can anybody tell me why my square is black?
Is your camera covered?
Yep, no, camera's fine.
Does it show that you're sharing video?
Yeah.
Huh. Do you have it pointed at something black?
That's what I was looking around for. No, that's all right. At least you know I'm still here.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you fine, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
dark.
Okay, so on fundraising, you're absolutely right, Karen. We're going to have some serious review of what we're currently spending, what we're on the track to spend, and the concern that the only funding we may see is whatever is raised in February, right?
Yes.
Because right now, really, when I look at the financials for the foundation, we really have 11,400 available to us, because part of the 14,000 mentioned earlier is for the community gardens. So really 11.4, and then an outstanding of 4.2, which we're waiting for that grant money to come in. So potentially and realistically, we should have 15.5 thousand right now in the bank. And we're nowhere near spending for each of the committees, nowhere near spending what their budget is.
Yeah.
So one of the things I'm going to do here over the Christmas break is dive into the numbers a little bit. And what I'd like to do is ask each of the committee members just to review what things you have in your budget that are very essential as far as your committee is concerned. And then we'll take a pass at whether or not there's some things that the committees are okay with foregoing for this year. Because there's something else at play here that I'm sure John will cover when we get to properties, and that is properties might need some money from us as well. It should be a short-term loan, if you will, but that leaves us even with less cash than what we thought we had, right? So as I mentioned, we have that 15.5 that's available to us in foundation. We also have that 30,000 that's been set aside. So while that all sounds good, like it could get us through the year, what just came about, at least for me, as of yesterday, and the potential need for properties on the short term could dip into this, some of that reserve that we have setting aside. So I think that what I'll do is, as I mentioned, dive into the budgets and then talk with Chris and Kimberly and Richard to just do a one pass with their budgets and see what they think is essential, and we can kind of go from there. There is another, one second, let me pull it out. As you all probably recall, we did an $8,000 expenditure recently to salt mine, right? We did go to see if there was any grant money because it was COVID related, and they had just given the last of their money away. So we missed it by that much, if you've ever seen Get Smart. So what happened though is just this week, Karen Romness, I think is her name, came back to Paul and Joanne and me and said, hey, the people that 4,000 was going to go to, it looks like it might fall through, and we're not going to use that money for that other club who they had already committed to. So there's a potential right now that we could get $4,000 as a result of that salt mine donation we did. So it's not a done deal, but it is a potential there. So we're going to track that. One of the things that came up was, should we just send that money directly to salt mine? And basically then have given them 12,000. my gut reaction says we should not make that commitment, at least at this point in time. I think we need to, if that money does come to us, I think we pull it in and look at other things that we're doing before we go back to salt mine. Any comments from you guys on that? You
I agree.
Yeah.
Totally.
Okay.
I agree.
All right. Okay.
I agree with that.
Okay, so I'll let Paul and Joanne know that, you know, if we have access to that money, we'll bring it in, and anything else that goes to the salt mine will come before the board again as we dig through where we're at financially. Okay. All right. Okay. And then since Richard's not here, we just got an update from this Chapala Sunrise, where it looks like we're not going to have to send them any money this year, because they got some money from, it looks like a foundation sent them $10,000.
Oh, nice.
So it basically finalizes here by saying, for Lincoln World Community Services Committee, no need to tap into remaining budget for this. So when I go back to Richard for the World Committee, that may be some money that he can basically give back to the foundation as well. So I think those are two pieces of potentially good news.
And we haven't,
as far
we
as
have not spent any money on World Service.
okay, yeah, and that may be true. I do know for sure that we have spent very little through any committee. We've spent a decent amount of money because we sent $8,000 to to Salt Mine, and I know we did 9,000 for Cornerstone. So we did at least allocate and put out their money for those things. But yeah, other things in the committee really hasn't spent any money at this point. But anyway, so I just wanted to talk about that as a tag along to what you brought up earlier, Karen. So I think unless you guys have another suggestion, I'll just take a deeper dive and, like I said, go back to the committees and talk through that. And then we can talk further about it at our next meeting.
I had a question, Brian, on the Cornerstone.
Yes.
Are we going to get a grant to help pay for that?
So yes, but that grant can even be applied for until later this year. So that money will come in next fiscal year.
Okay.
It's due about April 1st, and then you're notified in late June if you get it or not. And then the money comes in, or then you go out and spend your money. You have to upfront the money, and then you send them the bills and how you spent it, and et cetera, and then you get the grant money.
Okay.
So it's kind of like, you do it, you spend all the money, and then you come back and they reimburse you.
Yeah, reimbursement basis. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions about this topic for now? All right.
I have a little bit more to report on my committee.
Yeah. I wasn't going to cut you off at that point. I just, yeah. Okay. We'll move it back to you, Karen.
Okay. So probably no Wine Fest, probably no Lincoln Tour de Lincoln. We have booked as a backup October 30th at the McBean Park to use it, so that we will do like we did this year. If we can't have it in May 15th, then we'll move it to October 30th and see if we can have it then, which would put it into next year's budget. So I think you can pretty well plan that we're not going to have either one of those things this year, and we're not going to have any income from it. We do have the virtual gala coming up. The committee, a small subcommittee met last week, and we are, there are about 10 people in our club who have volunteered to give us some silent auction items. And the other people within our club have not sallied forth with offering services or money or a basket or whatever. So each person on this committee has 5 people to contact. And I wrote out a speaking guide for them to talk to the members about, we've given a lot of money away to COVID and other things that we usually do, like scholarships and et cetera this year, and that we need to make money for our coffers. And last year there was a request by membership not to have so many fundraisers, so we agreed to go down to 1 fundraiser, which was going to be in the fall, but that was canceled because of COVID, and we moved it to February, and it became virtual. So this is going to be our only thing probably to make money this year. So we're going to ask people to donate to the foundation, each member, $100, or provide us with a silent auction item worth about $100, or provide some kind of service that they can do that won't cost them a whole lot, that would be worth maybe $100 to other people, like, drive them to the airport and go pick them up. That'd be worth probably $100 almost, something like that, that wouldn't cost the person doing it as much money. It would be time, but we're going to ask them to pony up something that we can use in a silent auction, or if they have some big thing they want to give us and they haven't come forward, then we would use it in the live auction. And we're going to talk to them about that, you're not paying for meals, you're not paying for Happy Bucks, you're not paying for socials that we sometimes charge. So $100, really, you would have spent more of that over this time. So we don't feel like we're asking for a lot. And if you'd like to give us more than $100, we'd be thrilled to take it. So that's our next thing. We're going to make those phone calls to all of our members that haven't donated something before January 8th, and then we'll see where we're at in regard to our items for the virtual auction. Chris and Grisella are 2 of the people making phone calls, along with Joanne and Claire and myself and Frema Stewart.
Okay.
So I kind of put you where we're at on fundraising.
Okay. All right. Any questions?
Did you say you need the rest of us on the board to make those calls?
No, but if you haven't given anything, you're going to be receiving something, a phone call. So you board members don't want to receive those phone calls.
I've got a couple of things.
Divvy up.
I've got a couple of things I'm going to donate. So.
Okay, so email me and I'll get your name off the list.
I do too. I've got to call you because
I've got yours.
I'm going to do something.
Yeah.
Couple
Yeah,
things
I've
probably.
got your thing.
Same here.
But other people who haven't done it, they'll be getting phone calls.
Okay.
But if you have something, the 3 of you who I haven't heard from, I'll be.
What's happening to this the whole thing?
Okay.
Can't even hear it.
So we're just trying to cover the bases.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Karen.
Yeah,
You're
we're on a
welcome.
football game here.
Next was public relations.
Did you hear me?
What came out from last meeting was asking
Oh, okay.
Shanti to send out a follow-up after we had our lunch meetings. And she's done that now the last 2 meetings we had. So I was glad to see that start up again. I think it was a great idea. I think Daryl reminded me of it. Okay, Chris, youth.
The only thing I have to report is we have been doing the Santa letters. They were done, the last day to turn them in was Tuesday. We have done over 400 letters. I publicly want to thank the Women's Club for stepping up, and they have written all of the letters except for a few that I took on, and they're just fun to do. We were on Good Day Sacramento on Tuesday morning. They did a little thing about our mailbox, and we had Santa and Mrs. Claus show up. And the only other thing is Oh, that's it. There's really not much going on as far as the schools. Kids will be starting to work on their seniors, their scholarships, and hopefully we are still able to give all of our scholarships that we've done in the past. So that's it.
All
Sorry,
right.
my dog is barking.
Well, no problem. Well, thank you, Chris, for the update and then all the work too that you did coordinating those Santa letters. I think from my perspective, it's even more important that we were able to do something like that this year, given what's gone on. So thank you, Chris, for all of the work.
And Women's Club, I will be sending them a thank you, especially Harriet Garland for getting them all organized and sent out to the ladies
Okay.
to write.
Great, thank you. All right, community services next. Kimberly didn't say anything specific that she had to cover, so anything with Rotary International, Clark? You're on mute. There you go.
Okay. Yeah, so I wanted to give you the final numbers. I'm just sending the money in now. I've been so crazy. All our Polio Plus though. So we raised actually $1,385 was for Polio Plus. And then I have another $2,300 that's come in for the Rotary Foundation for the annual giving program.
Okay.
So I'm actually we're going to be sending off about $3,685 to Rotary Foundations, which part of that was, for Polio Plus, as I mentioned. The rest is for annual giving, and
Okay.
so that's a nice bump in funding for the Rotary Foundation.
Yeah, very nice. Wow.
And just along with that, well, you've got it under old business. I'll wait till we get down there.
Okay, all right. Thanks for that update, Clark.
Yep.
John, the foundation and then properties, please.
Right, you bet. Okay, the question that you had raised earlier, Brian, the investments transfer from Fidelity to Vanguard has been going on for some time. We are truly.
You just froze. Isn't that just like technology? The timing of it's perfect.
I saw a joke on a comedy where the student would do that in front of his camera. And the teacher said he's froze. We're going to somebody
That's a
else.
great idea. All right. Well, John, if you can hear us, we can't hear you. Maybe you can, if need be, go ahead and log off and sign back in. We'll move on and come back to John if he recovers over there. All right. World Community Services. I didn't have anything from Richard, but I did cover that.
He's back.
Sorry about that. Am I back?
No. Yeah. Go ahead.
I actually lost you for a moment there. Okay. The foundation will have a board meeting in January, this coming month. And the MOU, which we have between the club and the foundation, is being revised to include the LRC properties. And Clark has done that work for us, and I just got it before the meeting. So thank you, Clark, and we'll put that on our agenda and review it. And I think maybe mentioned this the last week or last time we met last month. The tax preparation for the foundation is going to be done by Jennifer Jensen, CPA here in Lincoln. That should take care of the foundation. Any questions?
No.
Okay, on LRC properties. The big item there is the grant deed on the 1090 Big Bend Ranch subject to life estate. I think maybe Daryl wanted to speak to that.
Yeah, I'd like to do that because I think everybody, I was going to give a more comprehensive, I want to go back through the history of this a little bit. Mr. Dart passed away on September 11th of 2019. So you can see we're 15 months into doing this. And that doesn't lie with us that that's taken that long, but I guess that's the way the legal world works. And then the trustee's husband passed away. We got notified on October 23rd. March 4th, we formed LRC Properties, Inc. And the goal of that organization has been to take title to the properties in a organized manner. Why don't, Clark, if you got the point that I sent up to you,
Yes.
the card I sent up to you, please.
Okay. There it is.
Here's a summary that Graziello put together for us, and it's an update. And part of it, the most pertinent column is the blue one. If you want to go down, straight down through that, we've got 6 residential properties. We have 6 vacant lots that will be coming in. And there's been a 15-month question and go back and forth about the property, that one that's in the middle, the 1090 Big Bend Road. And it's not a question about what's whether we'll end up with it. It's a question of how we would end up with it. That property was stated in the trust that a trustee would hold it until the life estate ended. Well, the attorneys don't agree with that wording now, and they want us to take title to the property. And quite frankly, our board is, the properties board has voted unanimously that we would want to do that. And I think part of the reasoning behind it, or the major reasoning on my part, is that if we get a grant deed for it, we're on title for it. And there's no argument 10 years or 15 years down the road about where that property goes. It will come back to, it will remain in our title throughout that entire time. What that necessitates, however, was getting a more explicit agreement with the life tenant of what he could do and what he could not do and what he would be responsible with on the properties, i.e. normal wear and tear is accepted, but that we have to be held harmless and indemnified for any cause of actions or any liability throughout that term, and that we have to be named on his insurance, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That conclusion was come to after we've been through 2 attorneys, one of which kind of faded out of the picture on us in a not too admirable way. I think he went on vacation, but we have now had an attorney that's drafted a grant deed, suggested grant deed that incorporates everything that I've said. And what's really brought this to a closure is the fact that the trustee's attorney will finally be filing documents with the Placer County Court. He received a copy of the grant deed that I'm talking about. And again, that grant deed sets out all the requirements of the life tenant, and the life tenant's required to sign it. And we hope that that's a clear path to getting this resolved. So, but the bottom line of that, as you can see, is $2,846,000. And that was a value that was done by the probate officer of the county once there's a death and it's going to go into a estate. I'm part of this, I don't know anything about, other than that office goes out and evaluates the properties. So there's 2,846,850, and all of that. Once we get clear, we'll get free and clear title to it all, with the exception of the Big Bend property. We'll get a grant deed for it, naming us as the rightful owner, but it is subject to that life estate with Mr. Brake. And he's a 72-year-old man who And that might mean 10 years, that might mean 15 years, that might mean 20 years. One of the most unpleasant things that came out of the legal wrangling here right at the last minute was the conclusion by two attorneys that the line of credit that was put against that ranch at one time comes in at around $35,000. And we've operated on, we didn't really get a legal opinion. We were operating on the assumption that the life estate, that life tenant would take that line of credit. And two attorneys now say, no, that's not what the law says. And so it becomes something that was due and payable upon Mr. Dart's death, although the bank hasn't foreclosed on it. So we will be investigating that further, but right now it appears that we're liable for it. Properties does have the resources to pay that amount, given that there's also a $22,000 stock personal property asset that should be coming to us at the same time. But I guess what it gets us to is all the properties will be free and clear with the exception of the life estate. And then the life estate will be for the period of time that he lives, and he has very stringent requirements on him. I'm just looking at my notes. I just think that at this point, we've hammered just about everything that we can on this thing. I know one thing, hiring attorneys to get us a good opinion on this is an expensive proposition. So I don't think we're going to ask many more questions. I think we're at the point where we just need to say, hey, we've got a very valuable asset there. One of the things that we look at fundraising for this year and what might be spent and such. I don't think we can ever count our chickens until the eggs are hatched, et cetera, or whatever that old saying said. But once we have title, we have a disposition committee, and they should be looking strongly at selling one of the lots. Selling one of the lots would put us into a very strong cash position, and it might let us fund some of the less essential items in the budget this year, if that's what the board would end up deciding to do. And we do have one very firm interest on one lot, that's the one on Fifth Street. And we have a person that said that he's been looking for a lot. He wants that lot. It's in his area. It seems like a nice young man that's a manager of a construction contracting company or something like that. But the fact is, we don't have anything further than that. Other than that, we have a very strong interest in that lot. And then the disposition board would have to decide that that's what they want to do, and it could be done. And he has also stated that he's not going to look anywhere else until we get our situation resolved. And 6 months ago when COVID hit, or 8 months ago when COVID hit, I would have said that selling properties of any kind is going to be tough. But now watching how many houses are being built and how many of them are being sold based on 2.5% mortgage interest and such, I think our lots or any portion, one lot or any portion are very, very marketable. One little side thing, and this is a side thing. We've got a contract with somebody that's going to put up signage on our lot there on East Avenue that's going to bring us in $300 a month. That's not big in the real world, but it's anticipated to go for 2 years. So what would that be? $37,000.
72. Yeah.
600.
72. So that would be kind of nice. We've had some expenditures. The only expenditures we're making right now are on emergency items. Heat pumps go out. A heat pump went out on one. A large sycamore tree that has about 2/3 rotted through the trunk and right next to the house had to be taken down. So we're minimizing expenses other than getting this deed issue cleared up. So the next step is number one, I said that the deed was sent this morning, or no, yesterday morning, to the trustee attorney, and they have it. That attorney said that he was close to getting this all put into the court because it requires court approval before distribution can take place. And it's just not to us. For any of you that have read the trust, you remember there's like 40 beneficiaries of that trust. We're by far the largest, but there's a lot of people. I mean, 15 months we're here. And the rumors we get, and I'm going to clarify this, it absolutely rumors. One person says, well, the courts might get to it within 3 months. The other one said, well, this might be something they can move through. But anything I'd say is a guess, but 3 months might be a guess. That's about it. That's got some
Darrell, two points, just two comments. So just for the rest of the board, the line of credit that he secured against the Big Bend property, he actually used that money to improve a different property, one of the ones that we rent. Isn't that correct?
That's correct. And we have that property in Marysville.
And so that's why we really should be on the hook, because that money was used to improve one of the rental properties. It wasn't used to improve the Big Bend property.
That's right. That's what's one of the main drivers. But then also there's some legal language that's saying the remainder man is responsible for principal on a mortgage where the life tenant plays a stake. I guess, but it's exactly as you say, the 35,000 or the line of credit, which was originally 50,000, I think, all went into improvement of the other properties that were inheriting.
Right. So if you think about the four-way test, it really does seem like should be our obligation, not the life tenant, right?
Right. And if a person thinks a little bit further, and I had no way of knowing what Mr. Dart intended or such, but it's probably the belief also that he wanted his friend to have that life estate without the debt service. But again, it was spent for property. So that's the main argument.
Okay. Now, the other question I have is what if the life tenant says, well, I'm not signing these stipulations within this grant deed? I mean, do we think that'll be an issue or not really?
I'm sorry, Clark, say it again. Do we think he'll object to them?
Well, I mean, why would he sign to agree to these things we've put in the grant deed? Or do we think that'll be an issue or not really? Or we don't know really? Here's
the approach on it is the trust is written. Both attorneys said that the trust is written in a sloppy manner. And I kind of alluded to
I'm really talking more about the guy that's the life tenant.
No, but here's where I'm going with that.
Okay.
The trust, we interpreted as that the property would remain with a trustee. Well,
right. I've read it. That is what it says, but I totally agree with the fact we should do the grant deed now.
Yeah, so we're getting a benefit about being of the grant deed, but we have the argument going back on it as, hey, if he won't accept liability for the property and we have to have liability issues for it, we could go back and argue. We'll go back and argue paragraph 3, sentence 2 on the trust, and you keep it in trust, and we'll see you in 10 or 15 years. And that's a backup position, but I can tell you at the rates we're getting charged for legal services, I don't think we can argue much. Now, we tried to make the grant deed stipulations about as innocuous as possible. And
I don't think they're onerous on.
No, they didn't seem like it from what I read. I couldn't go to the meeting, but I did read the documents. Yeah.
Okay, good. Because it
All right.
just seemed like putting asking us to be guaranteed that we would not have liability for his actions and,
Right.
and items like that. I believe it's about as straightforward as it can be.
Was
All
it,
right.
did Roger put that grantee together then?
Yes. Yes. With a lot of guidance from the committee. We made points, but yes, he put it together. Yeah.
Okay, all right, all right. Well, thank you very much for that, Darrell. I've got one question, because the concern for me as I look at, what the foundation has available for the various committees, is right now for properties, there's roughly 23.5 in the bank, in checking, I should say, specifically. And I know there's the 22,000 in cash, but that doesn't come over from the trust until the trust is settled, right? So if you have 23,000 in the bank, but we may have to pay off the $35,000 debt against the Big Bend property. So there's a potential there that the foundation might have to, in essence, loan some money to properties to pay for that, right? Is that correct?
That's possible, but the bank hasn't called it at this point, and we're hoping that they'll wait until the distribution to call
Okay.
it. We're getting the paperwork from the bank now to discuss that. Once we find out a better timeline on the court action. The bank's been getting their monthly payments on a regular basis, so they, other than the fact that that note is payable upon Mr. Dart's death, and
Right.
one suspects they know it, but they've been getting paid. So
Okay. All right. Yeah, because it to me, it looks like it could be somewhere in the $15,000-$20,000 range of a borrow from foundation. So I just want to focus on that as I go through the budgets for the various committees too. So if you hear any change in that, if you can let me know.
yes, will do.
Okay, thank you. All right. So we've got this social that's starting in about 14 minutes, 13 and a half to be exact. I'm assuming that Claire won't have an update on social since we're doing the social next. So if it's okay, Claire, we'll skip over that for this time. All right. And then the same thing with the emergency council and the COVID committee reporting. There was one thing for sure that Clark, you were going to talk about, and I think it's Susan Elliott's Paul Harris. Okay, could you give us an update?
So I actually submitted it to Rotary today. We had a little delay in her president down there giving me the information on their club number, their district number. I needed all that to transfer the recognition points. So, but it's all done now. It's been submitted to Rotary International to get Susan a Paul Harris Award. Her president will get the award, and when he gets it, he'll let us know.
Cool.
And then we'll try to join their Zoom meeting when they present it to her.
Great.
So that's all.
Cool.
It's all done.
All right. Hey, thank you, Clark. I appreciate that.
You bet.
Then all right. So is everyone ready for us to just put the rest of the agenda and move it out to next month so that we can wrap things up here? Some of us may need a restroom break before the social. And I got to get my glass of wine. one of these kind of breaks.
And Clark,
yes, exactly. So we'll do that unless. So, is there anything anyone feels we have to discuss right now while we're together before we adjourn for tonight?
I move adjournment.
Second.
All right. Okay. And with that said, thank you all for being here and for everything you do. And Chris, it looks like you have something to say.
Yeah, just one thing. I am starting to really hurt for getting speakers. I have no one lined up for January. Maybe Paul Radford's going to get one for me, but this is getting very hard to get people. And I need help with that because this isn't the only thing that I do either. I'm frustrated like Karen is. So I need help. So I can get an email out to members to get them on board, but it can't be just me and a couple of people trying to get speakers for the rest of the
Yeah.
year or the new
Okay.
year. All right.
So how about this? Send out an email and ask people also if they want to present. Because
Right.
I'd like for some of our members to, get in front of all of us so that we get to know a little bit more about them. We've got enough new people over time. So I think that'd be good. I know I'll sign up for one of those slots. I don't need 30 minutes, that's for sure. But, and we've been running a little long anyway. So even if we got a 15 or 20 minute, one or two people to give a little bit about their background and so on, I think that would be good. I know I'd sign up for it.
Okay.
All right.
All righty. Thank you.
Okay. Well, thank you, Chris. Okay, then everyone go get your potty break and get your favorite adult beverage. And we'll see you all here in just a matter of minutes.
All right.
All right.
All right, Kathleen.
Bye.
All right. Goodbye. Thanks, Clark.
You bet.
Yeah, let me see it.